My name is Amy Miller, and I'm a therapist here in the Fort Lauderdale area. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself first before I tell you more about this seminar and whatnot. So, like I said, my name is Amy Miller. I'm a family therapist here in the Broward area. I see clients in Broward and Palm Beach County. I'm what's called a registered marriage and family therapist intern. So what that means is that I already have a master's in marriage and family therapy, and I've passed the national licensing exam and whatnot, and I'm just getting hours right now, which we have to get like 2,000 hours or so before we can be fully licensed. So it's just a provisional thing. And I'm getting a PhD over at Nova Southeastern University in marriage and family therapy. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about the stereotypes and the biases and the stigmas that are associated with seeing a therapist. My specialty and my area of interest is sexuality. There are a lot of other people like me out there that are here for your service. There are a lot of therapists out there that don't necessarily specialize in sexuality. They specialize in things like grief and loss, substance abuse, depression, family issues. Come on in. And but then there's a whole slew of us who love to talk about sex all day. A few of us are here right now. We have a booth over here at the convention as well. I'm with a wonderful organization called the SAGE Institute. We do education, training, and counseling in regards to sexuality. So, let me tell you a little bit about a different type of therapists that you might see. So, everyone knows what a psychiatrist is, kind of, sort of. They're the ones who will prescribe you medication. They're the ones with the most medical background. So they'll figure out a diagnosis and then prescribe you the appropriate medication. Then there's psychologists. They mostly focus on diagnosing and evaluation and testing. And then you have a whole slew of psychotherapists. There are mental health counselors, clinical social workers, and then marriage and family therapists. They all have different areas and different approaches, but they generally are all interested in psychotherapy and talking to you about your problems. A marriage and family therapist will take a more relational approach. Can you hear me all right? Kind of, sort of? Yeah. So they'll take a more relational approach. It's called a relational approach. And that kind of means that it's about your relationships with your significant other and the world around you, but also your relationships with your own problems, like your depression, your sexuality, and things of that nature. So, me personally, and therapists in general, I don't really think, and I just wanted to put this one out there as one of the first biases and stigmas to kind of strike out. We're not going to tell you you're crazy, unless you already think you're crazy. Then that's great. But my job is not to tell you that you're crazy, and nor is anybody else's. And if they do, and you're not comfortable with that, then leave. But if that's what you need to hear, then great. So we're not going to tell you that you're crazy. We're also not going to shrink you, and we're not going to shrink your wallet. There are a lot of therapists who are in private practice who charge $200 a session or whatever it is. But then there's a lot of other options for people out there. There are nonprofit organizations like SAGE, which works off of a sliding scale, and our fees are very little. There are private practice practitioners out there who also take a sliding scale. So they just ask you questions like, how much do you make? And if you're just an average income, $30,000 a year type of individual, they generally won't charge you $150 a session, because that's unfair. You could go through your insurance provider, and there's Medicaid as well, but if you want to keep it in the private sector, find a private therapist who works off of a sliding scale. Now, specifically in regards to sexuality, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the approach I take and a lot of sex therapists take. I need to just clarify that I'm not actually a sex therapist. It's a little illegal for me to call myself one. I haven't had the full training and certification for me to be able to actually say I'm a sex therapist. But I love to talk about sexuality. Individuals, couples, families, whatever it is. Now, the reason that I say I love to talk about sexuality is because I can clearly and openly say I don't like to talk about death and loss. I can't. I clam up. It's really hard for me. I have a hard time. I could do it and I will do it, but more than likely I'll say to somebody, it's outside my scope of practice. I'm not too familiar with it, I'm not too comfortable with it, so I can generally, and I have to, refer you to somebody who would be a better fit. But if it's an issue regarding your sexuality, myself and other individuals who are therapists who specialize in sexuality, they will be willing and able to talk to you about that. So what are some of these problems? Well, it's anything from a physiological issue, which we would work directly with your medical provider to help you out with. You know, if you come relationship, your partner watches a lot of pornography, or there's infidelity, or your 15-year-old child is really into the gay scene in Wilton Manors. These issues, and it's a problem for you. You want to talk to somebody. That's where something like hiring a therapist, calling a therapist, isn't that bad of a thing. So when you can't hear me anymore, go like this. So sometimes, like I'm saying, calling a therapist isn't necessarily a scary thing, a bad thing. It's not the end of the world. So sometimes if you're in a relationship and there's issues in the relationship, like intimacy issues, it might be something that you want to talk to somebody about. And hiring a therapist, calling a therapist, not the end of the world. And it's something that anyone can do. And there's a lot of us out there and definitely are willing and able to talk about the whole gamut of sexuality. So I wanted to just, if it's okay, turn it to you guys and see if you have any questions. There's a few therapists in the room. There's actually a sex therapist, Ricky Siegel, Dr. Jill Morris is also a family therapist who specializes in sexuality, and myself. Mary Lisa is also a therapist. And I wanted to open it up to you guys. If you have any questions about what it's like to go see a therapist, or some of the problems or issues that we do or do not work with, if you wanted to open it up and ask a question like that, this is a really good opportunity for you to maybe voice it now. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, I understand that as well. We'll be here all weekend. You can come and talk to us there. I don't know if we'll do therapy sessions at our booth, but does anyone necessarily have a question maybe about the experience of calling a therapist? We can answer?
I'm Lauren, pop culture writer, blogger, thinking about the future. My question is, for people who have a very strong kind of awareness of their own sexuality, and are single, not children, and have a scratch they need to do, a scratch something to take care of that, as far as going to like swingers club, that kind of thing. What level is it too much or not safe for you, or is that considered in a therapy session?
What do you mean? Like, is that sort of like talking about that with your therapist?
Yeah.
Or, I think that's a really common concern, actually. It's really quite normal. There's so much out there nowadays in regards to sexuality. Did everyone hear Lauren's question? Lauren was kind of asking about, the issue of a single woman who wants to explore things like swingers clubs or things like that, and what's safe and what's not safe, and what's, how far can we push the envelope, and is that something that can be talked about in therapy? Yeah. So as I was saying, it's kind of a common experience. There's so much out there nowadays to titillate us, and there's just if you can think of it, it's on the internet and it's a fantasy, And given that we all have the opportunity out there to experience all these things, it's new to us and can seem dangerous and out there. And I think it's certainly something that a lot of people come in and talk about with therapists, because really therapy is just a matter of processing. You got this thing going on in your head, you're not too sure, you've talked to all your friends, your family members, your coworkers, your whoever, and you're still stuck. You're still stuck in this idea, you don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea. And so taking it to a therapist will sometimes help you get unstuck out of that pattern of thinking that you've been living in. And you might realize, okay, this is something I can do. Or, you know what, maybe I'll go a little more vanilla. Maybe I'll turn it down a little bit, Maybe I'll just watch some swinger videos, something like that. But it's certainly something that's a good and worthwhile thing to talk to a therapist about. So, I can't complete. It's a sex on stage. So does anyone else have any other questions? Yeah?
Just in general, as far as like, she was talking about the swinger thing, do you think it can, like if you're running away from the scene,
excuse me, man and woman. Right. It's supposed to be very boring, right? That's what society's telling us. Turn on the TV, look what's going on. It's pretty vanilla stuff out there, especially if you're coming from a faith-based background, especially if you're coming from a family that's faith-based, and it's very like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. You know, so after a while, we're sitting there and we're thinking to ourselves, I really want to watch lesbian pornography, and I'm a straight woman. Is that okay? And generally, as a therapist, I mean, I'm not the moral police, and I'm not you, so I can't tell you if it's okay or not. But just like I was saying before, if it makes you happy, no one's getting hurt, great. If it's getting in the way of your relationship, then that's something we can talk about. But that's one of the biggest myths is out there, is that, and so many people struggle with that we're supposed to have this particular sexual life, and we're supposed to be this particular sexual being. And if you're not, something's wrong with you, and you have to go see a therapist, you know? And so I think that a lot of people actually have very positive experiences seeking therapy because they walk out being like, oh, I'm pretty normal. Look at that. That's not a big deal. So, and I think that idea, that notion is really empowering to dispel those myths out there that, oh, I'm into a foot fetish. Something really simple, but no one in your circle of friends or your family or anyone else has a foot fetish, nor do you talk about that at, Thanksgiving dinner. But that's one of the most common myths out there, is that whatever the person is bringing into the therapy room saying, this is what I'm into and I have a problem